Welcome to Stop Dieting and Start Living podcast. I am your coach, Natalia Rodriguez, and I will be guiding you to get in the best shape of your life for the rest of your life by combining my coaching experience with the psychology behind the human eating behaviors and some simple brain science. Get ready to be coached by me. Hello everybody and welcome to the very first episode of my podcast. I am super excited that you are here with me today. Please sit and try to relax for the next couple of minutes while you get coached by me. On this first episode, I will be talking about, listen carefully, why what you eat is more important than what you actually eat if you're trying to lose weight. And this is simply because we've been told otherwise with all the diets, restrictions, always focus on don't eat this, avoid carbs, sugar is bad. And so far, they have proved them wrong because it simply doesn't work. Because actually, by knowing why you eat, you will track how you gain the weight in the first place and how eating according to these hunger signals that your body provides you will help you to land at your naturally healthy weight and keep it effortlessly forever. Just before we start, I wanted to let you know that I love and appreciate very much your emails and messages. So feel free to keep connecting with me. This podcast is for you. All the content that I create is for you. So if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or you simply want to say hi or thank you, please feel free to do it. I will love to hear from you. On the episode notes, I will leave my email address and also the link with my Instagram. I'm usually very active there, so you can also contact me there. And that's it. Let's get it started. Enjoy the show. So, why what you eat is more important than what you eat if you want to lose some weight. If you are like me, since I have memory, my mom, my grandma, my aunt, myself included, we all have been focusing on what we eat when we decided that we want to lose some weight. With things like skipping breakfast, avoiding sugar, eating less carbs, and surviving mainly with lettuce. And now that I think about it, to be honest, it takes a lot of courage to do all of that. I mean, all these years trying to lose weight, perhaps losing a bit. How many diets or practices for this have you tried? But then here comes again the weight, and it feels like we are in a constant roller coaster. Gaining the weight, losing the weight, gaining the weight back, losing the weight back. Like, we can't keep it. And if we manage to keep it, we are not happy. And in our heads, we are constantly thinking we should be doing more. And the solution is always restriction or passing hunger or exercising more. Because we may feel somehow that exercise will compensate a bit. Am I right? So actually living this is super brave. It needs a lot of courage to live like this. Dedication, effort, to live constantly under pressure and restricting, with punishment, feeling guilt, failing. We are very tough doing those things. So please be proud. We have grit. And for what it's worth, all that search has paid off. You just found a way to lose weight forever. If you keep listening to my podcast, in each episode, I will give you an idea of how you can manage to lose the weight forever. With that said, I am very happy that you decided to start this journey here with me and give it another try. After spending the last 8 years learning about psychology of weight loss, coaching hundreds of women, and experiencing frustrating weight loss challenges on my own, I've learned exactly what it takes to achieve permanent weight loss without ever have to diet again. Imagine not having to think about food ever again. Only when you really need to, like thinking about going to the toilet. You only think about it when you really have to pee. So never again have to worry about that weight on the scale. Or if you go on holidays or Christmas or whatever. And you actually create the headspace to live your best life. How cool is that? So the only way that you can actually lose weight, and that you probably already know, if not, here is, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That means eating less calories than your body needs, understanding that calories as food. So that is why mainly the industry has been focusing a lot on what we eat. With all these diets, the keto diet, the intermittent fasting, the high protein, the low carb, all those diets have that in common. They look to restrict certain foods, allowing you to create that calorie deficit that you need. But this gets complicated, because imagine if you like carbs, like me, and you are in a low carb diet or in a keto diet. And if you love carbs, the foods you are going to eat won't satisfy you. And that will create a restriction in your head. And eventually, it will also create an obsession, or let's call it an emotional attachment with those foods that you are restricting. So if you ever diet, you know what I mean. As an example, for instance, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but when I used to be on a diet, I wanted to eat all the chocolates that I had at home, plus all the ones in the supermarket, like never before. But this only happened when I was dieting. When I was living normal, I could have chocolate on top of the kitchen and never touch one. So that food obsession has created for many, or for me at least, and my clients that we've been dieting and restricting for so long, several stories in our head that you could actually believe as true. Like, I'm a foodie, I can live without chocolate, I'm obsessed with cakes, and such thoughts that are actually not true. And when studying the psychology behind this and evaluating how a natural slim person that has never dieted before, you can think in a kid perhaps, they don't have these fixations. They literally only see food for when it's needed. They don't eat if they are not hungry. Literally, try to feed a baby when he's not hungry. That's a mission impossible. And now the question is, so how is that we grew up and we are not like this anymore, ending up gaining undesired weight? Well, what nobody told us, and here's where it gets super interesting, guys, is that why we eat is more important, because inside of us, we all have a calorie calculator that helps us to control our calories and even so our macros, allowing us to eat only when hungry. And that means only when the body needs it, in the quantity that he needs. How awesome is it? But what it takes to have this back? Well, we need to get in contact again with ourselves and follow our intuition, creating helpful habits, because the problem has been that we learn not to listen to us. So we ended up learning to eat when actually not hungry, with things like growing up using food as a reward system, like eating ice cream when sad, or wine when stressed, or pizza when happy. All those connections created some not so helpful habits without us even realizing it. Or having family rules such as the clean plate. I know that rule very well. It used to be in my house with insane portion sizes. And because there was no dog to eat the leftovers, we needed literally to clean our plates. I remember one day when I was 6-7 years old. I think I spent 4 hours at the table. I couldn't stand up until I finished my plate. And they served me pumpkin that I used to hate, that now I love. So those kind of things created stories in our head that we believe as true, making us eat when we are not physically hungry, making us gain undesired weight, and disconnecting us from our hunger cues. In my younger days, I've never experienced being overweight. I had belly and I hated my arms, but I never was like 10-20 kilos overweight, for example. But before I moved to Europe, I gained in 6 months 10 kilos, mainly in my face, arms and belly, thank you. And I didn't have a clue what was going on. When I got to Europe and after a year I started dieting because that was the only thing I knew. And since then I joined the yo-yo diet club, like losing the weight, gaining back the weight, losing the weight, gaining back the weight. Until now that I finally got it right. It is not the food. I was coping with food on stressful moments in my life. So when I moved, I was leaving my family behind, my country. I sold all my stuff. I got divorced. And I use food to cope with that. Food is so delicious and it has been always for me. How could I resist? I wish I met someone like me back then to explain me what was really happening. That instead of feeling lonely and eat cookies, I could call a friend. Or instead of feeling tired after a hard day, I could just go work out or go for a walk. If so, I wouldn't gain any undesired weight in the first place. And waste precious years of my life obsessing over food, not socializing with people, not enjoying the places I was visiting, because I was feeling ashamed about the way I looked. And I was scared eating certain foods and beating myself up every night after eating bread, rice, potatoes, sweets, and trying to copy someone else, I feel very miserable in the last 10, 15 years. But I thought, or I assumed, that was life about. So that is why tracking why we eat in the first place, because this is the very first step, will be the key to your success to lose weight, because it will lead you to come back to like when you were a kid, eating according to your hunger signals that will help you to come back to your natural healthy weight once and for all, because our bodies are amazing machines that when we listen closely, it will guide us through the best shape for each of us. Make sense? If you have any questions, remember you can always email me. And this works because by checking why we eat, we will track our emotions and behaviors, all those hidden habits that led us to gain weight in the first place, like reaching food when tired, stressed, bored. After this, it will come some steps and techniques to start getting those stories in our head straight. And the most important, guys, relearn to follow what it feels right for you, because there is when you will really be able to maintain this new lifestyle, only when it feels right for you. So for today, you have a homework. Yes, I will try to give you a homework every week, because what we don't practice, we will forget. So you will start tracking why you eat. And how you can do that? Well, very simple. By tracking your hunger levels every time you eat or drink something, either a main meal or a snack or a coffee. I've created a lovely hunger scale tool that it will serve you well for this. So you can see it in one of my posts on Instagram. I will leave the link on the episode notes as well. And if you're not familiar with it, the hunger scale is a scale 1 to 10 that will describe your hunger levels. Taking into account 1 is your stomach is super empty, you're super hungry, you have pain, or 10 is when you are feeling this super discomfort, feeling you ate a lot, you're unbuttoning your pants, your belly is 3 times bigger, and you are even feeling sick, that you cannot even lay down or even walk. So with that scale, how you can use it? Well, the idea is that every time you eat or drink something, you rate your hunger with no judgment. That's super important. You just rate it. So for example, you are going to have lunch, so you will see how hungry you are. So 5 is neutral, so you will say, okay, I'm in a 2, in a 3. And then when you finish eating, how full, and you want to rate it. So I want you to write that down for a couple of days and just rate it before eating and after eating. Why you can benefit from this? Well, because you will start noticing, and this will create awareness of if you're eating when you are really hungry or just because, or like the real reasons why you're eating. Like this will make you think. And that's the purpose of it. Track your emotions and your habits, because you will find out that perhaps, hey, I'm just eating out of boredom and I didn't know that, because most of the times we don't know why we eat. So this will be the first step. So any questions, remember to write me. Love you lots. Bye-bye. Thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you here next week. If you like this episode, please leave a 5-star review. That will support my cause. That is to impact as many as you as possible. And if you definitely want to lose some weight and you are tired of dieting, restricting yourself, and feeling guilty after eating your favorite foods, I have every month a few spots open to work one-on-one with me. I can guide you and give you the confidence that you need to learn, practice, and keep your dream body forever. For more information, go to natfitforlife.com. You can find the link in the episode's notes. Have a great one. Lots of love, your coach, Nat.